Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the Inside Column Reference LSB from Steadfast Bibles. This has 95,000 references and 14,000 footnotes. The footnotes are from the LSB and the references are from the NASB. And here are the specs. 40 GSM paper, 11-point font, line matched, black letter, red for book titles, running headers, chapter and page numbers. Smythe sewn with overcast stitching. It is a paste down binding. So let's just take a look. This one is an imitation leather. Looks really nice for imitation leather. I like that look. It feels like imitation leather, but it does have a nice grain to it. Perimeter stitching. There's the spine. Looks to be reinforced, but I'm not 100% sure, but that does look like reinforced binder's tape. So that'll last a little bit longer than normal, I think. Rounded spine, which I like. Gold page edges. 1/4 inch ribbons. Black for the Old Testament. Gold for the New Testament. And lots of thick end sheets in the front and the back. And that gives it structure. There's our 40 GSM paper. The paper is smooth. It feels elegant. It's easy to turn. I have it written in it, but I think this would be great paper for writing. So it's easy to grab and turn, decently opaque. So here is the information. It is printed in Korea, typeset by 2K Denmark. Some of the best typesetters in the universe. And then there is our setting. Single column, verse by verse, with paragraphs marked by bold verse numbers. The verse numbers stand out of the text a little further than normal. The font is dark and readable. It does have enough space between the lines. The collars for the references and the footnotes are a little bit large, but they're not too bad. And references are placed in the inner column at the top. Footnotes are placed in the inner column at the bottom. Now, if there are more than one chapter, you'll see a line, and then they'll be identified. We'll see that as we go. So there's our red. That's a dark red. Here's an example of multiple chapters. Chapter 2 has a line and then starts. Same with the footnotes. So the references are always at the top. Footnotes are always at the bottom. Multiple chapters are divided. Looks good. Poetic setting. So poetry looks like poetry. Lists look like lists. Letters look like letters. So it's easy to identify. With the references in the inner margin, the text is always on the flat part of the page. And as you can see, it opens well. Opens really well. First page, no trouble at all. One more thing I did want to show you. There's our overcast stitch line all the way down. So that stays open with no trouble at all. Looking at our red highlights, we have in the header the book name and chapter number in the outer margin and the page number in the inner margin over the inside of the text. And then that's about it for red, except for in Psalms. There are a couple in Psalms that look really good. For example, Psalm 37, which is an acrostic. It gives you the Hebrew alphabet, and that Hebrew alphabet is in red. I love that dark red. That looks nice. That is a nice dark red. One little oddity that I found is that Old Testament books start on the page where the previous book ended, except for that one, because that one ended. So one oddity that I found is that Old Testament books start at the bottom of the page where the previous book left off. But in the New Testament, they don't do that. In the New Testament, they always start on a new page, no matter how much space is left. So it's a little bit different from the Old Testament to the New Testament, and that is consistent from what I've seen. This is a black layer edition. I would like to see the red highlights. I would like to see the verse numbers in red, the section headings in red, and maybe the verse numbers in the margins in red. That would look nice. Give it a little bit extra flair. Not that it's not fancy enough. It does look good. looks excellent. And like the NESB, Old Testament quotes are in all caps, so they're easy to see at a glance. A couple of tools in the back. We have monetary units, weights and measures, then a concordance. Concordance is about the same as the NESB. It's a little different. A few places has a few more references, a few places has a few less, but overall it's about the same. And then it does include the Lockman maps. So if you're familiar with any Lockman NESBs, exact same maps. And that is it. There's our paper in the back. Lots of pages back here. That thick end sheet gives it structure. It's kind of a large Bible. Let's take a look. 6 3/4 by 9 1/2 by 1 3/4, and that's the overall size. I'll show you the trim size. 6 1/2, 9 1/4. But I like to give the overall size because if you're looking for a case, that's what you need. And it weighs 3 pounds, 3.8 ounces. Now we'll show a couple of comparisons. I have the NESB single column reference in the Premier Collection. And this one is the 1995 NESB. The footprint is about the same. Thickness, about the same, maybe a little taller. But that's because it has a slight bit of yap. But they're very similar in size. 36 GSM paper in the NESB versus the 40 GSM paper in the LSB. So here's how they compare. See if I can get us to Psalm 21. So there's Psalm 21 in both. Here's how they look. So I find the LSB font is slightly larger and has a little bit more space in the text, while the NESB is a little bit more compact. That's how they compare. Another one I want to compare to is the Stratton NESB. This is the 2020 NESB from Scholar, and I will be looking at the Lockman equivalent to this pretty soon. And the footprint is about the same, but the Stratton is thinner because it has thinner paper, 28 GSM paper. And it's also a verse by verse, single column. So here's how they compare. Then get us to Isaiah in both. So there's the book of Isaiah for both editions. Here's how they compare. So that's my quick look at the Legacy Standard Bible inside column reference. I like this paper. I like that paper a lot. The build quality feels elegant. It looks elegant. I like everything about the look and feel of this Bible. The red is beautiful. I wouldn't mind seeing red in a few other areas, but it does look elegant. I like it. This little oddity here with the Old Testament book starting on the same page and the New Testament book starting on a new page, I kind of find stands out a little bit strange. I don't know why they did that. The tools seem to be good. Lots of cross references for study. I like how they're separated because it's just easy to find them quickly and use. Footnotes down here, cross references up there, separated by a line. Everything's just easy to get to. And by placing the references and the footnotes in the inner margin, the text is always on the flat part of the page, which I like. I like that a lot. So 316 Publishing did supply this in exchange for an honest review. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll place links in the notes so that you can make a purchase if you're interested, and also so that you can see the written review at BibleBuyingGuide.com, where I always go into more detail. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.